Okay guys, so what we have done now, so we now have a GUI where all of our GUI components are set up. We have created two buttons. One of them is a clear screen button, and we now know that that works. So what we're going to do at this point, okay, is we're going to get the add button working. So let me just show you this. So this add button here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all data into the different entry boxes and components. We're going to click add new account. And what we're going to do is we're going to write that data to a file. Now this is one of the key components that you have to be able to overcome when you're doing your GCSE controlled assessment. So this is a really important video to make sure that you get working. The type of file that we're going to be writing to is a .csv file, which is an example of an Excel file. The reason why we use a .csv file is because it's easier to manipulate and work through the records than just a simple text file. Okay, so let's get started on that. So as you saw there, we have the button set up. Okay, whenever you set up a button, you have to have a command, and the command then links to the function, which is the piece of code that's going to execute when you click on the button. First thing that we do is we're going to gather the information. So we gather the information, okay, and we do that through a series of .get statements. So we do that through a series of .get statements. Now, every GUI component has a variable associated with it, except the spin bar. So all we simply do is we do a series of .get statements. Okay, so in order to do a .get statement, we create another variable. So to get the first name, I'm going to do account fname, which is first name, equals first name dot get. Okay, I'm going to go print account fname. Okay, so what does that mean? So what's going to happen when I click on the add new, it's going to go down and it's going to see, well, what's in the first name variable, and what it's going to do is going to put it into this account fname. So if I run this, okay, I'm going to push it over to the side so you can see. So I'm going to put in something like Anthony into that. And now what's going to happen is when I click on the add new account, it's going to gather whatever information's inside the first name variable. I'm going to put it into account fname. So what I've just done is a simple print statement to show that. Okay, I'm just going to show you here. So I'm going to go add new account and it prints Anthony just there. Okay, so we're going to do that there for the other 5 entry boxes first. Okay, so we've got account sname, which stands for surname, equals surname dot get. We're going to do account address equals address dot get. We're going to do account postcode equals postcode dot get, and then we're going to go account email equals email dot get. Okay, so what we have there at this point then is we've gotten everything from our entry boxes. So we've gathered all the information from our entry boxes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to gather the information from the drop-down menu. Okay, so again, if I go down to my drop-down menu, okay, my drop-down menu, I've got a variable associated with the drop-down menu called email choice. So it's a very simple one here. I do account email choice equals email choice dot get. So that's another simple dot get statement. Okay, now with the spin box, there's no variable associated with the spin box, so it's a pretty simple, straightforward one. All we simply do is we use the name of the spin box, which is age spin box. So all I simply do is here, I'm going to go gather info from spin box, okay, and then I'm going to go account age equals age spin box dot get. Okay. Now, the last one then is the radio buttons. Okay, now there's a variable associated with both of the radio buttons. So it's called gender choice, and you can see that the variable for the male radio button, the variable is gender choice, and you can see for the female radio button, the variable is called gender choice. So again, all I simply do is I go account gender equals, and it's gender choice dot get. Now, if male is being selected, gender choice will be 1, which we're going to put 1 into account gender. If the female radio button was chosen, the variable will be 2, and account gender will get 2. Now, there's two things that I need to do. So this is gather info from radio buttons. Okay, two things that I want to do. I want to create the full email account. So what do I mean by that? So what I've done is I've got two variables. One that takes the first part of the email account that you're going to be setting up, and the second one is the provider, so the @Gmail or @Hotmail. So what I want to try and do here is I want to create a new variable and join these two together to create a final email account. So I'm going to say final email account, which is a new variable, equals, and it'll be account email, and all I simply do is do plus account email choice. Okay, so what that simply does, it adds the two, or joins the two of them together to create a final email account. So that'll just be the whole email account. The second thing I want to do is I don't want to write the number 1 or number 2 to my CSV file. I want to write the word male or female. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the radio button choice into a string. Okay, so what do I do? So the first thing I do is I check what's the value of account gender. So I say if account gender equals 1, then, and I put a colon at the end of that, then I say final gender equals male, okay, which is else if, account gender equals 2, I can go final gender equals female. Okay. Now I'm ready to write to the file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a file and write all my details to it. Okay, so first thing I do is I open up the file. So in order to open up the file, I say with open, okay, and I give the file a name. I'm going to call it accounts.txt, and I'm going to open it in append mode, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it as a CSV file, okay, with colon at the end of it. Now, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this thing called a record writer, and a record writer will allow me to write a record to the CSV file. So I'll go csv.writer, okay, and then CSV file. Okay, and that's just standard that we put in there. Now, finally, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to write the record. So I do record writer dot write row, okay, and I open up a bracket, and I'm going to write basically all of the details that I've gathered. So I create a square bracket because I'm creating a record with different fields in the record. So I'm going to call it, so inside there, so I'm just going to write all these variables that I've put all the details into. So I'm going to go account fname, then I do comma, then I do account sname, then I do account address, then I do account postcode. Now, I'm not going to write account email and account first choice because remember I separated them, they were separate things. But what I will do is I will write the variable final email account, which will be the entire email account joined together. So account. What I'll also do is I'm not going to write down account gender. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write down final gender, because I didn't want to write down 1 or 2. I want to actually write down what's the actual gender of the person. So I go final gender, like so. So that's all of my details. So I close the square bracket, do a curved bracket at the end of it, and that's the details written. Then what I do is I come back in line with that with statement, and I do CSV file dot close, because it's really important there when you open a file, yeah, and then you close the file when you're done with it. Okay, just with this A, so this is how I've opened, this is the way I've opened my file. I've opened it in append mode, which means it's going to write everything at the end of the file. So I'm going to run the module. Okay, so I'm going to put in some actual data there. So I'm going to go Anthony, Brian, say Belfast, BT, okay, just maybe go with a C2K or something like that. Give an age of say 14, select male, and then add new account. Now nothing comes up there, okay, but what we can do is we can go into the folder where we've stored our file, our program, and you can see account.txt is being created, and when I open that up, you'll find there that all the details that I've entered has been entered in there. Okay, so that works. Okay, so all I'm simply going to do now is I'm going to clear the screen after I write it, because when I write it, I just want to clear the screen. So I want to just reset the screen whenever I've done something. So I'm just going to go clear screen and open close bracket, which will call this little function down here, which will implement this code there. So I'm just going to run that again. Okay, I'm going to put in different details there. So I'm going to go James Power, Belfast again, go BT 45 3EF. We're going to get J Power. We're getting male, and then we'll give him an age of 10 years old. So see what happens now when I do this. So I'm going to add a new account. It's cleared everything, it's reset back everything, it's deselected, sent everything back to the drop down menu. Then I simply go in, and then I go to my account.txt, and you can see that the James Power record has been added now. Okay, so if you can get that skill up and running, you're going to do really, really well, okay, and that's a skill that you will need for your next